This video has taken me forever to make. I've been very, well, kind of busy, but actually I've been very lazy with making videos. But this is an update for plants. So I haven't made an update video in like probably 3 or 4 months. So if you guys refer to my old video, you guys can see the growth that these plants have grown. Okay, let's start. Actually, sometimes you can see a plant your whole life, absolutely not paying no mind, you're not interested in it, then one day you have to have it. Well, that was this plant right here. This is a ZZ plant. I've always seen these plants my whole life. I've never been interested in them. I've never wanted one. Then one day I had to have this plant. And sometimes when you're looking for things, you have to have it. It's so hard to find. This plant took me so long to find, but I found it at ShopRite of all places. But she's doing really well. She's not really in a super sunny area. This is pretty much indirect light feet from my window, but she's growing, so I'm happy about that. This plant in the red pot is a neon pothos, and some of the leaves have little bite marks and crispiness to them. My cat actually started eating this plant, so I had to move it from where it was. But it's doing pretty well now. This taller plant is a Sansevieria, a moonshine Sansevieria, and it's growing really well. When I first got this plant, it was very small. I got that from my local supermarket, and it's grown so much. I've recently repotted it in this pot right here. So it's doing really well. This is my latest plant buy, which is a peperomia. I cannot pronounce the scientific name, but it starts with an O. This also was a plant that I've had several times in my life, from childhood to adulthood. And I get tired of plants sometimes, and I either give them to friends or to family. I don't want the plant for a long time, then one day I just have to have it again. Well, that was this plant also. I just had to have it. And I got this plant off of a street vendor here in New York for $6. It's actually a beautiful plant. And this plant right here is a neon philodendron. This is one of the plants that I had in Linda May's contest. It was just a cutting when I got it, so it's grown very huge. And I got this in February, so it's been a few months, but she's adapted to, living in my house. Eventually I'm going to cut this trail off and propagate it and plant it back inside the pot so the plant could be a much fuller looking plant. There's also another one that I got from her in her contest. This is a Siebel Blue. And this plant was just a very small cutting, but look how huge it's gotten since the time. You can actually see the slight hints of blue against the other plants. It's really a pretty plant. Next to it is what is this? Not a golden pothos, a marble queen. I had this plant for a very long time, but I've made lots of cuttings off this plant. It's also in a very dark area of my house. It was not getting any light. And thanks Piper for biting my plant. Piper's my cat, y'all. She just loves to bite the pothos. I don't know why. She don't bother any other plants besides them. So I had to move it so she could stop getting to it. This is a plant that I've made for a friend for his birthday, but it's a mixed plant, so it's the neon pothos along with a purple passion. Okay, this plant has become very late because it's just stuffed in a corner, and it's kind of crowded by my other plants. So I'm eventually, I'm gonna cut all of these legs off. plant, like I've always said, is a very ugly plant to me, in my opinion. I'm gonna just snip these off, and it would back up from the top. And this neon pothos actually came from neon pothos. This one is getting way more light, so it's growing way better. Okay guys, here is my, oh actually let's start here. This plant is a reel. This plant is, it's a little boring to me, so I just leave it in the back of my window. It's a little boring, but it's pretty, but you know, sometimes a plant can be pretty but boring. That's one of my boring plants. This right here is a peperomia ripple. In one of my past videos, I got in this plant from a nursery. I can't remember which nursery. I bought 3 of them. And this plant used to be super full, but now it's pretty much died back to one little plant in the pot. This plant is very temperamental to overwatering. I went away on vacation, and a friend of mine was plants, and they actually put too much water in these peperomias. And peperomias are very, well, the ripple peperomias are very temperamental to too much water. They don't like to be waterlogged or their feet to be wet. So this is also with that nursery package that I got. This plant used to be so beautiful also, but now it's down to one little stem. Surviving though. This is the 3rd one. It's just also down to 1 stem. If any of you guys are wondering what's this white stuff on top, this is actually sand that I placed on there because I was having a fungus gnat infection, and they went away with the sand because they can't burrow in the soil. Next to it is a watermelon peperomia. Out of peperomias, this one is more succulent, so it's not as prone to root rot, and it could take neglect without a problem. And this plant has just been growing, and it's been beautiful since I've got it. And also these peperomias, these ripples, they weren't getting too much sun because I had them in a location where it wasn't getting too much sun, so I just placed them in my windowsill, and they're surviving. They're starting to actually grow back. They've only been in there for maybe 2 weeks, but I see change and I see growth. So, you know, I'm pretty optimistic that these plants will eventually get back to their fullness that they once were. Next to it is an aglaonema. And aglaonemas right now are one of my favorite plants. I absolutely love them for the color. They're not very high maintenance. They're not fussy. They neglect them for a while and they won't die. They don't require a ton of sunlight to stay pretty. This plant right here actually was a piece of my other plant that I accidentally broke when I was doing some stuff in my windowsill. So I just popped it in water maybe for like 3 weeks, and it got roots, and I planted it in this small potter, and I absolutely love it. I was actually going to throw it away when it first broke off because I was so irritated by it, but I decided to propagate it, and I'm very happy I did. It turned out to be very beautiful. I eventually might give this plant to a friend. I already have the mother plant. Next to it is another aglaonema. This plant I absolutely love. This is the green and white one. I can't remember the name of the color name of it, but nevertheless, she's really pretty. Okay, next to it is, this is my favorite aglaonema of all times. That's the mother to that plant in that little pot that I just made. The leaves to this plant are stunning. And what's so great about this plant is that each leaf is kind of a different pattern. Some of them are really like this more reddish pinkish color, and some of them are like spotted and polka dotted and striped. And this plant, I only bought this plant for like maybe $6.99 at my local supermarket. The plant was small, but it was very full when I bought it. And I have cut this plant back so many times, and she just keeps on putting out. So I absolutely love this plant. Next to it is another aglaonema. Guys, excuse my lighting. It is nighttime where I'm at. And this plant is probably my longest lived aglaonema. Well, my actually first one that I've gotten. Take it to some more lighting. You can see it. This plant is huge. Once again, this plant have taken lots of cuttings off of it, and she just keeps growing back. Very full, very nice. Next to it is a next purple passion. Hold on, guys. Okay, this plant is supposed to be variegated, but actually one stem, you guys can see that, which is variegated. I bought this plant from, I believe it was Piper's Nursery, and it was sold to me as variegated. I bought 5 little potfuls. I was so excited to finally get the one that was variegated. And the lady assured me that they were not showing their variegation because it was wintertime, and that when summer or spring came, they were getting more light, they would eventually show their variegation, which I think she lied to me. I spent $45 for this plant, which I could have spent literally $5 at Home Depot, but I still am happy that I did get this one variegated stem over here, which I'm eventually going to propagate and put it in its own pot so it could be separate from the regular purple passion. So, next to that is this, I believe this is called a Valentine aglaonema. So, this plant was struggling at first, but it's finally caught on. It's starting to grow. I absolutely love this red. I'm sorry, guys, my house does not have the best lighting because it is nighttime, so bear with me, please. Okay, this is a jewel orchid, which I absolutely adore. It'd be nice if she flowers before the season is out. If not, I still love it. Still. Next to it is another aglaonema. This was the plant that I have gotten from Lowe's Rescue. And I spent $5 for this plant. This plant it was struggling at first, I guess because it's so light, like the actual leaves are very, very light. So I think it just needed some sun. It's growing really, really beautifully now. Uh-oh. And this plant next to it is a Diffrabatia. I'm sure I'm slaughtering the pronunciation. But also, when I went away on vacation, somehow this plant did not get watered from my friend. I think I had so many plants that they probably skipped over some, not realizing. So when I got back home, it was very, very dry, almost dead. I gave it some water and some fertilizer, and the plant has perked back up. I've only been home for like 3 weeks, so it's trying to recover. This is also another Diffrabatia, and this plant also had suffered while I was away, but it's putting out new growth, so it's trying its best. I got them in a really location in my window, so I'm hoping for the best. They're still alive, so that's what matters. This was just some cuttings from that Marble Queen plant. It was one of the first plants that I showed you guys. And hold on, let me move back. This plant right here is a Dracaena Renata. This plant was so small when I got it. This plant is so huge, and it's not even getting direct sun, but it's still growing like a beast. Let me see. Let me move it so you guys can actually see how tall it is. Pretty soon I'll be able to use that plant as a floor model plant. So it's sitting on my little table next to the window, but it's not getting direct sun. This is that plant arrangement that I made from the video, Getting Big Mama in Shape. She is growing very, very well. It's a Purple Passion and a, I can't think of it. It's not a, I think it's not a Enjoy pothos. Oh, it's a Jades and Pearl pothos in there. So it's growing. As everyone should know by now, Purple Passion is my favorite plant of all times. Next to it is a Micans philodendron. This plant grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. Once again, I'm sorry about the lighting. See how long this plant has gotten? And I cut this plant halfway back, maybe 2 months ago, and sent some to a friend of mine. And this plant has grown from the top of the windowsill almost all the way down to the bottom of the windowsill within 2 months. So if you guys see this Micans philodendron in your garden center or nursery or whatever, pick it up. The leaves are very velvety and feel actually a beautiful plant. Behind it is another Purple Passion. This Purple Passion had suffered while I was on vacation also. I'm not sure if it was overwatered or too dry. And it was very limp when I came home. I was very scared it was gonna die. I gave it some Thrive and also fertilized it. It's still not back to its fluffiness that it once was, but still alive. I'm, tending to it like a baby because it's one of my fullest Purple Passion plants that I have. So it's surviving, but it's gonna take a little more longer to fill out how it was. You guys can see how long it is. You see why it's my favorite. And next to it is a Manjula pothos. This plant has finally started trailing when I first got it. It was very full, but it was like just like tight plant inside the pot, but very full, but it have no trail. So it's finally starting to trail. And this plant is very easy. It doesn't take much care. Just, hang it up, give it water, give it light, and she grows. Try to find one of the leaves for you guys. You guys can see that. Each leaf is a little different pattern. Like this leaf is almost all white, and this leaf is blotchy with green. And that's how all the leaves are on this one, with blotches of super, super white. It's very beautiful. This plant is a tricolor Jew. This plant is a delicate plant. Super delicate. The vines are very thin. I got that plant from one of the nurseries also. I should have actually bought two. I don't know why I bought one. It was a small plant for like probably $4. I should have got two to fill out the pot, but she's been growing, but she's very delicate, extremely delicate. The leaves are like a white and purpley, and it's a beautiful plant, but it's just she's delicate. She's not like her cousin, the purple jewel, which is a more sturdier plant. But I'm not a fan of the Wandering Jew, the purple one. I'm not a fan of it. But this plant, when I seen it, I had to get it. Okay, guys, this is a Enjoy Potos. This plant has been trailing and trailing. Look at the trails, guys. So when I first got this one, I had to have it. I had to. But the plant was up to the top of the pot. It was just like, you know, a plant that didn't have no trails. It was just stuffed in a pot. It was very full. So this plant has grown tremendously in the last couple of months. It takes up the whole windowsill from the top to the bottom. And my last and final plant is a mixture plant that I've made, which is a neon potos and a purple passion, which I love making mixed plants because the color contrast is so intense and beautiful. Again, this is actually my longest lived purple passion that I've had, because I was having a lot of trouble with purple passions that I was buying from Home Depot. They weren't really catching well for some reason. I have no idea, because I've always kept purple passion, have been very successful, had no problems with them. But for like a year or so, I was just not getting good stock. So this plant, when I went away on vacation, it was overwatered. And purple passion, they hate to be overwatered. They hate it, they hate it, they hate it. And they hate to be very dry. So you gotta, know your plant to know how to maintain the correct moisture in the soil. So anyway, when I got home, the plant was very limp. It was super overwatered, which I'm not blaming anyone, because my friend was nice enough to come over and tend to my plants. But, if you're not a plant person, you just don't know. But I pretty much gave up on it. Then I remember I had this product called, hold on guys, Super Thrive. This is like a liquid you mix with water, and you water your plants when they're in trouble or close to dying, or when you're doing like freshly repotting, or so they could get used to their pot. And it's also saved my plant. It saved it. I didn't have no hope for it. I just like, this plant is dead. The purple passion, at least inside of it, was like totally just limp, no life to it, and the plant has come back. So, which I'm very happy for, because this plant has been with me for a very long time. It was very little for like probably 2 years. Like, it did not grow. It did not do nothing. It was just in the potter, in the planter with no growth to it. And it was one of the original ones that I got from Home Depot, which all the rest of them died, but this one held on. So, it's very sentimental to me, because that was the one that held on and did not die. So I could not lose that plant. But the Thrive made it come back to life. So if you guys are having any issues with repotting or root bound, or the plant is almost dead, use that product and it will make a big difference. So thanks guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.